Good evening and welcome to Breaking Views on NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening I want to start with a story which is very, very disturbing. People have been talking about this and the discussions are just heartbreaking. Who can you trust if you can't trust the people, those who have been entrusted by law to in fact do some work or do some duty? I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, it's, as I said, it's one of the most blood-curdling story when you hear about it. Most of us, you and I, have come across this story of betrayal, sexual abuse, of trust completely being ravaged by someone who was supposed to be the protector of an innocent child, turning the most vile and vicious predator for her. I'm talking about the teenager who was raped multiple times by now suspended Delhi government official Premoday Khakha. Now, sources have revealed very disturbing details. Sources in the Delhi police. Shocking details of this crime. The accused and now suspended senior Delhi government official Premoday Khakha drugged the survivor before each act of sexual abuse. And on one instant, the survivor woke up to the injuries on her body. Police sources say that the girl, who was 14 years at the time when this abuse, in fact, took place, was depressed after her father passed away in 2020. The father died at the height of the pandemic, but not due to COVID. According to the police, the first rape occurred on October 31st, 2020. This was likely just days after the young girl, traumatized by her father's death, was packed off to Khakha's home in Burari in northeast Delhi by her mother. Less than 2 weeks later, ladies and gentlemen, this man showed his true colors. The mother said that the official had convinced her that she would be safe in his care. Another shocking detail is that in 2007, this girl was adopted by her parents. It also raises questions on what are the mechanisms we have for the social security and safety of children after adoption. Police sources have also revealed that the teen was raped at least once more during her 5-month stay in Burari in February 2021. A month later, she went to Jharkhand for a family function and then decided not to return to Khakha's residence. In her statement to the police, the girl has said that Khakha used to molest her even at the church and also at his own residence. Police have also suggested that Khakha, who is now under arrest, is not cooperating with them, adding that he insists that the allegations are completely false. The accused was produced in a Delhi court today and was sent to one-day judicial custody. In addition to Khakha, Delhi police have also arrested his wife, Seema Khakha, who allegedly had the couple's 21-year-old son to buy the abortion pills to feed the teen after she became pregnant. The girl reached out to her, to the wife, for help. Not only did she also break the trust, she in fact turned on with the girl, harassed her, and then made her to have this pill, the abortion pill, when she became pregnant. It's a very, very disturbing story. I want to first, ladies and gentlemen, play out in fact, what the police in fact said as far as this accused is concerned.
सर, कोर्ट में पेश किया गया, क्या हुआ आज कोर्ट में?
कल शाम को ये दो मुख्य जो आरोपी हैं, इसमें प्रमोदय खंका और उनकी वाइफ, इन दोनों को हमने अरेस्ट किया था। 24 घंटे के अंदर हमने जो है कोर्ट में पेश किया और न्यायिक जो है ऑनरेबल कोर्ट है, उन्होंने न्यायिक हिरासत में इनको भेज दिया है।
अभी तक की जांच में क्या क्या और बातें सामने आई हैं, किस तरह की साइंटिफिक इन्वेस्टिगेशन आप लोग कर रहे हैं?
देखिए, इट इज़ वेरी प्री मैच्योर एट दिस स्टेज कि जो हम किसी कंक्लूजन पे आए। हम हर तरीके से बड़े प्रोफेशनल तरीके से इसमें जांच कर रहे हैं। जो भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन में आएगा वो उस लिहाज से हम जल्द ही चार्जशीट करने की कोशिश करेंगे।
सर, विक्टिम ने अपने बयान में ये भी कहा है कि एक धार्मिक स्थान पर उसके साथ में छेड़खानी हुई, तो उसको लेकर क्या वहाँ पर टीम भेज रहे हैं, क्या जांच की जाएगी वहाँ पे?
हम इसमें इन्वेस्टिगेशन में हर तरीके के फैक्ट्स जो हैं उनका एनालाइज जो है तरीके से करेंगे और इसको इन्वेस्टिगेशन में टेकअप करेंगे।
जो एक्यूज्ड है, क्या उसका पोटेंसी टेस्ट भी आज हुआ है?
उनका मेडिकल हुआ है और इसके चलते जो भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन में हमें ज़रूरत होगी हम अकॉर्डिंगली इसमें टेकअप करेंगे।
सर, लास्ट सवाल, जो विक्टिम है उसकी कंडीशन क्या है अभी?
हाँ, विक्टिम की आज हमने पूछा है, पहले से बेहतर है कंडीशन, वो स्ट्रेस में है अदरवाइज, लेकिन डॉक्टर्स ने कहा है कि बेटर है।
Politics is happening all around as far as this story is concerned. Your rape versus our rape in our state, this body, that body. But collectively, don't you think, ladies and gentlemen, we have failed this child? Joining me at this moment to start this conversation around what could have done, who is responsible, Mr. Priyank Kunugo. He is the chairperson of the NCPCR, the body which is responsible for the safety and protection of the children all across the country. I spoke to him a short while back and I just want to in fact play this out for you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Kunugo, thank you for joining us at this moment. I want to start by asking you, sir, 13th was when the FIR was registered. When did you get to know about this? आपको कब पता चला और क्या एक्शन लिया उसके बाद आप लोगों ने?
देखिए, हमको इस मामले में समाचार पत्रों के माध्यम से पता चला कि इस तरीके की एक घटना हुई है और ये अपने आप में शॉकिंग बात इसलिए है कि जिन अधिकारियों के ऊपर ये जिम्मेदारी है कि बच्चों को प्रोटेक्ट करेंगे, जब इस तरीके से वही लोग बच्चों का शोषण करेंगे तो अपने आप में स्थिति बहुत गंभीर है और ये बताती है कि दिल्ली राज्य में सरकार की बच्चों के संरक्षण की स्थिति कितनी दयनीय है। इस पूरे मामले में सबसे ज़्यादा चिंता की बात यह है कि कोविड में अनाथ हुए बच्चों के साथ दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री ने जो धोखा किया है उसके परिणाम ये सामने आए हैं। जब माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने साफ साफ निर्देश दिए थे कि ऐसे सभी बच्चे जो कोविड के दौरान इस प्रकार से प्रभावित हुए हैं कि उनके माता पिता की या माता पिता में से एक की मृत्यु हुई है, उन्हें मदद की ज़रूरत है, उनकी जानकारी माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय को बाल स्वराज पोर्टल पे अपलोड करने के माध्यम से दी जानी चाहिए। लेकिन इन्होंने इस बच्चे की जानकारी अपलोड नहीं करी और एक अथॉरिटी जिसके पास ये दायित्व था उसने उस जानकारी का दुरुपयोग किया, बच्चे को घर ले गया, यौन शोषण किया। तो बच्चे का बयान अपने आप में ये बताता है कि उसके साथ एक ऐसे व्यक्ति ने दुराचार किया जिसकी जिम्मेदारी थी बच्चे की रक्षा करना। इसमें एक और इम्पोर्टेंट फैक्ट ये है कि दिल्ली राज्य सरकार ने जो उसके स्टेट कमीशंस हैं, चाहे वो चाइल्ड कमीशन हो, चाहे वो वुमेन कमीशन हो, इनमें वर्क डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन प्रॉपर नहीं किया हुआ है। कानूनों की ये लोग अवहेलना करते हैं। भाई, एक पॉक्सो एक्ट का प्रोविज़न है कि बाल कल्याण समिति के पास FIR की कॉपी जानी चाहिए और बाल कल्याण समिति इसमें कार्रवाई करेगी, पर इस मामले में बाल कल्याण समिति अभी तक गई ही नहीं है। भाई, दिल्ली सरकार को ये सोचना चाहिए कि बाल कल्याण समिति उनकी किस प्रकार से काम कर रही है, जिनका प्राइमरी ड्यूटी थी वहाँ जाना, बच्चे को सपोर्ट पर्सन देना, बच्चे को लीगल एड दिलवाना, उन्होंने किया ही नहीं है काम और तमाशे कर रहे हैं दुनिया भर में। इसकी कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है। जबकि
You said, sir, that the father died due to COVID. The police is saying he did not die due to COVID. But I want to ask a very important and a larger question on this. ये जो खबर मिली है कि 2007 में इस बच्ची को अडॉप्ट किया गया था, तो क्या कुछ नॉर्म्स हमारे पास होते हैं? किसी को अगर अडॉप्ट कर लिया जाए किसी बच्चे को, उसके बाद क्या कोई चेक्स एंड बैलेंसेस, कोई सर्विलेंस होती है आपकी बॉडी की तरफ से?
हाँ, और यही जो डिप्टी डायरेक्टर एजुकेशन, डिप्टी डायरेक्टर वुमेन एंड चाइल्ड हैं, ये इन्हीं अधिकारियों का दायित्व है कि ये सब फॉलोअप ठीक हो। अब एडॉप्शन इसका किस प्रकार हुआ, किस प्रोसेस से हुआ, कैसे हुआ, वो सब फर्दर मैटर ऑफ इंक्वायरी एंड इन्वेस्टिगेशन है। जो हमारी इंक्वायरी रिपोर्ट आएगी तो उसमें इन सब चीज़ों का उल्लेख किया जाएगा।
इसके प्रोविजंस क्या होते हैं सर? मैंडेट क्या होता है? हाँ,
किशोर न्याय अधिनियम ये इसी वुमेन एंड चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट डिपार्टमेंट की जिम्मेदारी होती है जिसके अधिकारी ने बच्चे को रेप किया है।
ठीक है, जिम्मेदारी इनकी होती है, लेकिन मैं आपसे ये जानना चाहता हूं, मैं आपसे समझना चाह रहा हूं कि ये क्या क्या आपके पास सेफ्टी मैकेनिज्म क्या होते हैं ऐसे अडॉप्टेड बच्चों के लिए? गाइडलाइंस तो आप तय करते होंगे ना?
जुवेनाइल जस्टिस एक्ट में पूरा प्रावधान है, आप उसको देख सकते हैं। आपकी रिसर्च टीम को बोलिए कि पढ़ के आपको बताए, जिससे कि आप दर्शकों को बता सकें कि किस प्रकार का एक बहुत ही इफेक्टिव मैकेनिज्म है जिसमें जिम्मेदारी राज्य सरकार के ऊपर होती है कि वो बच्चों का फॉलोअप करे, रिपोर्ट सबमिट करे।
सर, हम तो उसको देख लेंगे, लेकिन मैं आपसे जानना चाह रहा था कि क्या, क्योंकि आप बॉडी के हेड हैं, कि उस पर क्या प्रोविजंस होते हैं, लेकिन आप कह रहे हैं कि जिम्मेदारी सरकार की होती है। अल्टीमेटली आप उस कमीशन के हेड हैं जिसकी जिम्मेदारी है इन सब चीज़ों को इम्प्लीमेंट कराने की। आपको नहीं लगता कि आपका भी कहीं ना कहीं फेलियर हुआ है इसमें?
कर रहे हैं हम प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, हम अपना काम कर रहे हैं।
हम प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, अपना काम कर रहे हैं. That was the last words that Mr. Kanugo in fact had to say to us. I'm also being joined at this moment, ladies and gentlemen, by S.K. Srivastav, retired Joint Director of Women and Child Development Department, Government of Delhi. Mr. Srivastav, thank you for speaking to us, sir. In this whole thing where the jurisdiction falls under the DCW or the NCPCR and so many questions being raised at this moment, where does the buck stop, sir? How does one justify? सबसे बड़ा सवाल तो यही है that what are the kind of norms which are implemented in selecting the officers for the job that they are that this accused was in fact selected for?
Actually, see, there is certain process laid down for selection of the officer, and Mr. Premoday Khakha was, I think, selected in 1998 as a welfare officer. And after promotion, he was elevated to the post of assistant director. And since many officers like us were retired in a short span of time, there were dearth of officers in the department. So they were given the designation as a deputy director. In fact, he was not deputy director. It is widely being circulated that he was deputy director, but he wasn't deputy director. Now, I little bit disagree with Mr. Kanungo. He has done a marvelous job by, at the time of COVID, he got the data of all orphan children. Here, since the child was not orphan, one parent was already alive, they were well off, and ideally it should have been reported if the father was died of the COVID. It hasn't been yet reported that actually he was died of the COVID. And there are instances that one of the parents can die. So other one is fully capable of looking after the child, and mother was alive, and I'm given the impression that she was well placed in some government school. And the point is, if the child was, in what circumstances the child went to live with Mr. Khakha, what are the real facts that will come out after the inquiry.
Okay, but I want to ask you this, sir. What are the mechanisms? And I'm again and again asking this. I tried to ask that Mr. Konungo. He also got little affronted by that. Whose responsibility is it that any child who is adopted or loses a parent or in any circumstances, what are the checks and balances, sir?
I got your point. Under the Juvenile Justice Act, if a child is to be looked after by somebody, that he or she has to be produced before the committee. By parent, by any NGO or whosoever find the child in this state, the child can be produced before the committee. In this case, the child was not, you can say, actually in need of care and protection. Unless a child is in need of care and protection, there is no role of CWC as such. So in this case, I little bit disagree that whether the child was actually in need of care and protection, she should have been produced before the committee. Once it is produced before the committee, then the committee will take a call in which manner the child is to be looked after, whether she has to be sent in institution or in guardianship of somebody. So I don't think there was much role of child welfare committee.
Okay, not much role, but it's heartbreaking to see that a man who was in a position to in fact help children
really
like this.
It's disturbing for all of us. It's really disturbing for all of us. And really, our heart goes out for girl. But unless, let's see, we can't squarely blame the person that he actually has abused or not. let the inquiry to take place.
Sir,
Prima facie, the girl-
it is a victim who has narrated this story, and at least at this moment, all we can say that everything can, politics or the institutions, everything has to unite to make sure that there is justice which is provided to this victim. There can't be anything more heinous than this. Thank you so much, Mr. Srivastava, for joining us, sir, and giving us clarity how this department functions. I want to, ladies and gentlemen, now shift focus, in fact, to a very, very important story which has taken place today in India. The Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways, Nitin Gadkari, today launched the much-awaited Bharat New Car Assessment Program, the Bharat NCAP. Bharat NCAP is being pegged as a significant step forward to improve road safety by raising the safety standards of motor vehicles. The Bharat NCAP crash test ratings, which will come out into effect from October 1st, 2023. Now, India becomes the 5th country in the world to have this crash testing system. The cars tested under the program will bear the Bharat NCAP logo and a sticker which will be denoting its rating. The cost is approximately 60 lakh rupees, whereas if you go for a similar test abroad, it would have gone up to 2.5 crores. So this will also be beneficial for various manufacturers. The program will award a star rating between 1.5 for the cars, 1 to 5 for the cars tested, with 1 being the lowest. The evaluation will cover 3 areas: adult occupant protection, child occupant protection, and the fitment of safety assisted technology. 3 tests will be conducted as below. Frontal, in fact, the test will be the frontal impact, the side impact, and side pole impact test. Very quickly, just to tell you, as you are seeing on your screens, the Bharat New Assessment System, it will follow global, in fact, crash safety standards. Star ratings, as I told you, between 1 to 5. All these videos that you keep seeing. Let's just play out those graphics if we can at this moment. In fact, the car tested would be given a separate star rating for adults and a separate one for child occupants. Parameters include structural safety of the car, provisions of active and passive safety assist technologies, pedestrian-friendly design. The Bharat NCAP remains a voluntary test and will also test CNG and electric vehicles. Based on the models to be tested, likely to come into effect, as I told you earlier, from October 1st, and India becomes the 5th country. Now, Mr. Gadkari, at the inauguration of this, has informed that 30 models of different car makers have already registered to be tested under the Bharat NCAP system.
By this star rating, Bharat NCAP, people can understand the quality of the product. And now we are going to create awareness in the mind of the customers. And it is really important that they can understand what is the quality of the product. At the same time, I feel that there is a huge domestic demand for higher star rating vehicles in India. One thing you remember, the people are quality conscious. People are very, very quality conscious. Now people are very cautious about the safety.
All right. India, in fact, has been taking massive steps to make sure that there is the improvement as far as the safety standards of our vehicles, and this and will in return will improve and also make sure that the lives which are lost on the roads that can be prevented. Few steps that India has already taken. The airbags for drivers, for front and a passenger as well. This has been made mandatory as far as the cars are concerned. Meanwhile, reverse parking sensors, cameras, speed alert systems, electronic stability control to prevent skidding and loss of control, anti-lock braking systems have also been made mandatory in certain vehicles. Now with this crash testing, people would have a better idea of how their cars are functioning. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to give you one more data here. Why is it important to improve the car safety and how this crash test is going to be a game changer? Just to give you a sense of what happens on our roads, 5 lakh road accidents are reported every year. 1.5 lakh deaths are reported in road accidents. I'm not saying that all of them are because of collisions, but this is just a very, very big statistic. 1,100 accidents take place daily. 400 deaths are reported daily. 47 accidents per hour. 18 deaths are reported every single day. Head-on collisions also is also a cause for many of these deaths, and hence the system is possibly going to be a game changer in that aspect. How does it change, and how does it keep the safety of the passengers paramount? To discuss that, I'm being joined by Mr. Arun Malhotra, former MD, Nissan Motors India. He's an auto industry expert. Thank you so much, Mr. Malhotra. Sir,
thank you, Ankit.
How does this change the game as far as the Indian vehicles are concerned, the manufacturers, those who are opting for this testing, how does it make us more safe?
I think it's a landmark step taken by the government, because with the evolution of the auto industry, this was the final step which was required. Actually, in the last 3-4 years, a lot of steps have been taken on passive safety, whether it was the 3-point retractable seat belts, as mentioned in your report, on the anti-lock braking system, electronic sensory programs, the 2 airbags. So a lot of steps have already gone in, and I think this is the final culmination of it. So at least it makes the vehicle much more safer in terms of its design, in terms of its material which is used in the vehicle, in terms of the impact, whether on the head, on the chest, or on your knees, and whether in the front seat or the rear seat or for children. So I think it's a very, very comprehensive thing. It will go a long way to improve our safety record, which is abysmal. I mean, as you mentioned, 1.5 lakh deaths and 5 lakh accidents is a very high number. And considering that the highways are opening up where speeds definitely are higher, this was a much needed, I think it's a much needed thing, and it's going to be effective from 1st of October. So it's a very welcome step.
I was going through some data, and it was very interesting that in terms of number of accidents in European countries, more number of accidents are reported, but less number of deaths resulting due to those accidents. Can we expect a similar sort of standards to be met when this comes into place?
So the standards which have been specified, whether in terms of front impact or side impact or even the pole impact, are fairly similar to the international standards. But I think one caveat we must remember, a lot of accidents which occur in this country are because of whether it's poor road conditions, poor driving habits, over speeding, wrong lane driving, or even in terms of driving on the wrong side of the vehicle. The wrong side of the vehicle is driven on the wrong side of the road. So, this inculcation of safety, which is required at the customer end, is still a long way to go. I think the real benefit will only arise if we also inculcate it, and more than inculcate it, we are able to even also, government is able to ordain it, that we have strict fines for people who do not follow, who deviate from the safety norms. I think once we combine this with the new crash norms, then we'll get the real benefit. Otherwise, it will be a suboptimal solution. Just for a practical case, if you don't use the rear seat belt, which is compulsory now, the airbags, 4 airbags on the side and the rear have no meaning. So obviously it has to be a whole solution. It can't be a piecemeal solution to get the full benefit.
That's very, very important also for the consumer's point of view. In the end, sir, I also want to understand from you, how does it impact the manufacturers? Because this will, in a long way, now a lot of people, like we have seen standards or star ratings for, other consumable products in the FMCG market, people might be looking at these safety standards. In the long run, will this also force the auto industry to, in fact, make sure that all their vehicles are tested and they take the star ratings?
So, automobile purchase in India is a high involvement product, and it also creates a high media visibility. So star ratings are coming from the government side, and it is being highlighted, and there's a stickers given. First of all, it said it is voluntary, but it will put a pressure on models which are not conforming to it to also become part and parcel of it. And it may be the government may start it from a voluntary mode, but ultimately after some experience, some learnings, it may move to the mandatory mode. So effectively the journey has started. I think it's a irreversible step. The journey is started, you can't reverse it back. It is there. But as I mentioned, it has to be a complete package. I think the way roads are constructed, the way rules are followed, enforced, the way awareness of customers, all have to come together. Otherwise, it'll be a very chicken and egg story, which is there. It's a half action which does not give the results.
So basically, I mean, it's one step in the right direction for the safety, not only of the vehicle, but also of the consumers. But as we said, a long way to go before we can have those European standards where the loss of life can be reduced on Indian roads. Thank you so much, Mr. Malhotra, for joining us and giving us your expert view on this very, very important, ladies and gentlemen, new system which is now being implemented in our country as well. That's all the time that I have in this edition of Breaking Views. News and updates continue on NDTV. Thank you so much. Good night.